Welcome to PodWavePulse, where we bring new insight to you. Forget the surface level chatter today, we're diving deep.
We are. We've got this fascinating 20-page report.
And it really digs into how artificial intelligence, AI, could fundamentally shake up the power dynamics of big tech. We're talking Microsoft, Apple, Google.
To giants.
Yeah, insights you probably won't get from the usual headlines.
Exactly. These companies, they have this, immense control, don't they? Especially through their operating systems.
That's right. Windows, macOS, Android, they basically run our digital lives.
And these systems, plus their security stuff, they're like unseen gatekeepers.
Totally. They influence everything, the apps you use, where your data goes.
It shapes our whole digital world, often without us realizing it. But what if that could change? Our deep dive today is looking at how AI could potentially empower nations, particularly those strong in hardware manufacturing.
Thinking China, South Korea, Taiwan, these hardware powerhouses.
Right, empower them to create their own, innovative operating systems and security solutions, which could really recalibrate the global tech landscape, a big shift.
It's fascinating because it's not just about making alternatives, is it?
No, not at all. It's more strategic. It's about reducing reliance on the current big tech players, fostering their own innovation.
Building a more independent digital future for themselves.
Yeah, precisely.
Okay, let's unpack this. How could AI actually fuel these new systems? What are the upsides for these hardware nations? And crucially, what are the hurdles?
Yeah, the obstacles are definitely there.
Consider this our exclusive look at, a potential tectonic shift in tech. So maybe start with the current situation. How strong is big tech's grip right now?
Oh, it's incredibly strong. On desktops, you've got Windows with, around 70% market share?
Yeah, roughly. And macOS maybe 15%?
Something like that. And mobile, it's basically just Android and iOS. They've got 99% lockdown.
Wow, so that dominance dictates so much. Which software succeeds, which app stores we use.
And the data, the sheer volume of user data flowing through their systems, it's immense.
And it's not accidental, is it? It's built on specific strategies.
Absolutely. Think about their proprietary technologies like Win32 for Windows apps or Cocoa on the Mac side.
Right, those aren't open. They make it really hard for anyone else to get software working perfectly.
Exactly. Then there are the App Store rules, how developers reach us, the cut the platforms take.
And the cloud integration, right? Azure, Google Cloud.
Yes. That creates this powerful pull, keeping users and businesses kind of stuck in their ecosystem. It's very cleverly constructed, hard to break into.
And all this control, it translates directly into, huge amounts of money.
Massive revenues, OS licenses, subscriptions, App Store fees. It funds their continued dominance.
It's not just the OS either. Their security systems play a part too, like Windows Defender or Apple's Gatekeeper.
Definitely. They're integrated, they're convenient. It makes users less likely to look for third-party security, keeping them tied in.
And what's really interesting is how that security feeds their AI development.
That's a key point in the report. All those security updates, the telemetry data they gather, it's perfect training material for their AI models.
It's like a feedback loop, strengthening their position constantly.
But this dominance has downsides, especially when you look globally.
Concerns about backdoors?
Yeah.
Surveillance?
Exactly. The report highlights that concern potential vulnerabilities or surveillance in these largely US-controlled systems. That's where digital sovereignty comes up.
Right. This dependency can stifle innovation elsewhere, can it?
It really can. It prevents other nations, even those strong in hardware, from developing their own software ecosystems and grabbing those economic opportunities.
Okay, so that's the lay of the land. Let's get into the core of it.
Yeah.
How could AI actually disrupt this? Starting with the operating systems themselves.
Right, the foundation. The report suggests AI could revolutionize OS design.
How so?
Think modular kernels, building with Lego blocks instead of a solid piece.
And flexible, like Linux, but stable like Windows.
Kind of aiming for that sweet spot, yeah. And the key is AI enabling real-time adaptation, the OS, adjusting itself based on the task, the hardware.
And AI could even help write the code. The report mentioned things like Manus AI, Quinn.
Yeah, large language models potentially generating the basic code for new OS designs. That could massively speed things up.
Wow, that's efficient. What about the user side, the interface?
AI could create truly personalized interfaces. Imagine an OS that learns how you use it and adapts, going way beyond the standard look and feel we have now.
An OS that evolves with you. That's compelling.
Yeah.
But the big killer for new OS is always app compatibility, right?
Always the Achilles heel.
So how does AI tackle that?
This is where AI-powered translation layers get interesting. Think of them like super advanced versions of Wine, the tool for running Windows apps on Linux. But instead of pre-programmed stuff, AI dynamically converts app instructions on the fly.
Like a real-time software interpreter.
Exactly. Machine learning could also mimic how apps behave, reducing the need for those specific proprietary bits.
And the report mentioned AI designing universal APIs, like common languages for apps.
Yes, potentially. That would make it way easier for developers to support new operating systems if the underlying communication was standardized.
That would be huge for developers. Okay, what about just raw performance? Can AI help there?
Absolutely. AI could optimize how the device uses its CPU, GPU, memory, based on exactly what you're doing right now. Potentially much smarter than current static methods.
And for countries making their own chips. like Huawei's Kirin or Samsung's Exynos.
Even better synergy, potentially. AI could tailor the OS specifically for those chips, maximizing efficiency.
Better performance, maybe even better battery life?
AI-driven power management could definitely lead to improvements there, yeah. Critical for mobile.
Okay, one more OS angle, open source. How does AI fit in with things like Linux?
It could speed things up significantly. AI automating code reviews, finding bugs.
Freeing up human developers for the creative stuff.
Precisely. And AI chatbots could help onboard new developers globally, growing those communities around emerging OS like Harmony OS or maybe a revived Tizen.
So AI really could touch every part of the OS, from design to performance to the ecosystem. Let's switch gears to security. How could AI revolutionize that?
This is another area where the report suggests a fundamental shift, moving beyond the centralized models big tech uses.
Oh, more proactive.
Exactly. AI analyzing system behavior, network traffic, identifying threats before they hit, rather than just reacting to known malware signatures.
Nor dynamic defense.
Right. And AI could enable much more fine-grained access controls, reducing the need for central hubs like Microsoft's Active Directory.
So less reliance on a single point of control or failure.
Potentially. Imagine security updates distributed via secure, AI-driven peer-to-peer systems, bypassing big tech altogether.
That's a radical idea. What about privacy and, data sovereignty? Big concerns globally.
AI offers interesting possibilities there too, enabling better local data encryption and storage, helping countries meet their own data laws.
Like GDPR, for example.
Exactly. And AI could anonymize usage data, stripping out identifiers, addressing privacy worries about data going to, say, US-based servers.
And countries could train their own AI security models using local data.
Yes, ensuring the models align with their specific cultural context, their legal standards, that's a level of control you just don't get now.
The report also mentioned tighter hardware integration for security.
Especially relevant for hardware-focused nations like Taiwan. AI could optimize secure enclaves within the chips themselves, like ARM Trust Zone.
Making the hardware itself part of the defense.
Right. And AI could monitor the low-level firmware in real time. Looking further out, it could even speed up adoption of post-quantum cryptography.
Future-proofing security. Okay, stepping back, what are the economic or strategic wins here?
Well, AI automation could lower the cost of security operations, making alternative systems more affordable, especially for smaller nations.
And strategically, independence.
Independence is key. Having their own security systems reduces vulnerability to sanctions, tech export bans. It builds digital resilience, autonomy.
Okay, so we see the potential in OS and security. Now let's focus on those hardware nations. Starting with China. What's their angle?
China's got this powerful mix, doesn't it? Huge hardware companies like Huawei, Lenovo.
Strong, rapidly developing AI, like Manus AI, Gwen.
Plus significant government backing. Their 2030 AI plan, data laws, Harmony OS is the big example here.
Right, the AI integrated OS aiming for Android and maybe even Windows compatibility.
Exactly, all designed to cut reliance on US tech.
What about South Korea?
Their strength is semiconductors, Samsung, SK Hynix, leaders in chips and memory.
And they experimented with Tizen OS, right?
They did. It didn't take off massively, but the report suggests AI could potentially revive and enhance something like Tizen. Plus, their big tech firms are investing heavily in AI R&D, including security.
And then Taiwan. Small island, massive impact.
Absolutely critical because of TSMC, dominance in advanced chip manufacturing.
They make the silicon that powers the AI revolution, basically.
Pretty much. That control over the supply chain gives them access to the best hardware for developing new OS and security platforms.
The report also mentioned their political position potentially helping collaboration.
Yeah, perhaps their relative neutrality could make them an easier partner for diverse international players.
It seems like these three could potentially team up. Combine strengths.
The synergies are obvious. China's AI and market, Korea's semiconductors, Taiwan's advanced manufacturing. Imagine that integrated ecosystem.
They could bundle hardware with their own OS and security?
That's a direct challenge to big tech's software model. And partnerships with, say, India, the EU, ASEAN could help them scale up.
It sounds potentially transformative. But the report was clear about the challenges too, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk obstacles, technical ones first.
Compatibility is the big one. Even with AI, getting all the apps people rely on, Windows, Android apps, to run perfectly on a new OS, that's a huge mountain to climb.
Emulation can be slow or clunky.
Exactly. AI needs major advances for truly seamless performance. And scalability too, making an OS work well on everything from tiny IoT devices to massive servers.
Okay, what about legal and political roadblocks?
Big tech holds a lot of patents, especially Microsoft with Windows. Potential lawsuits are a real threat.
And U.S. export restrictions on advanced AI chips.
That could definitely limit access for competing nations trying to build these systems. Plus, you can't discount lobbying power. Big tech could try to shape regulations against newcomers.
And then just getting people to use it, the adoption hurdle.
It's massive. Why should developers build for a new OS with few users? Why should users switch from familiar systems like Windows or Android?
It's that chicken and egg problem. Plus, competing with big tech's marketing muscle. That costs serious money.
A huge amount.
Finally, security itself is a challenge for new systems.
Yeah, any new system might have unknown vulnerabilities. Early adopters could be at risk. And there's a global shortage of engineers skilled enough to build these complex AI security systems.
So, significant hurdles. But the report points to things already happening, emerging trends, examples.
Definitely. Huawei's HarmonyOS in China is the most visible example AI integrated, aiming for that cross-compatibility.
And Samsung's One UI, even though it's Android-based.
The report sees its increasing use of AI as a sign of South Korea's potential, maybe a step towards a more independent OS down the line.
There was also that bit about China's DeepSeek AI model impacting chip stocks.
Yeah, showing how fast and maybe how cheaply AI innovation is happening elsewhere now. That could accelerate things.
And the growth in open source AI projects, Linux variations, security tools.
Shows there's real global interest in finding alternatives, moving beyond the current big tech dominance.
So this isn't just theory, stuff is actually moving.
It really is. So wrapping up this deep dive, it seems the potential for AI to genuinely disrupt big tech's hold on operating systems and security is, well, it's significant.
Especially for those nations with strong hardware foundations.
Right. And it's about more than just new gadgets. It touches on digital sovereignty, innovation outside the usual hubs, potentially rebalancing the whole global tech power structure.
The challenges are definitely real.
Yeah.
Very significant.
No doubt. But the opportunities for a tech future that's maybe more diverse, maybe more secure, they're definitely there too.
So, thinking about everything we've discussed, what really stands out to you? What questions does this raise about where tech is heading and who's in the driver's seat?
It's worth mulling over for sure. The implications are pretty profound.
Indeed. It's complex, it's evolving fast. If you found this deep dive insightful, if you want more analysis on the forces shaping our world, please do subscribe to our channel.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.